Welcome everybody to the stock
Crawl,
crawler
stock.
watch.
We'll eventually get to it.
I almost said crotch. That is if you shorten up crawler watch. So it's like welcome to the crotch. All in your face. But I am here, Jacob Armstrong, here with my lovely co-host Jared Voorhees. We just experienced a swap. They were completely left in the dark. Did not know how they performed in the challenge, or even if they were going to go to tribal council until the minute tribal council was supposed to start. So Jared, can you give me at least some of your thoughts about how you felt this run played out in the grand scope of things?
The players in the game didn't know what was going on. Prod forgot what was going on half the time. Um, I mean, this round went better than I liked it this round more than last round, only because they could actually talk in the DMs. Um, but the swap is so interesting, and even though we just did this a couple days ago, so much has happened that it's like I'm glad we can actually use new information this time. Or use the swap information now for rankings.
Yeah, because like I know that there was been a lot of like inner like questioning too of like my philosophy like determining like what stocks to give certain people because it's like they could have been playing phenomenally, but like that they could be playing abysmally at the swaps. So, like how do I rank these people? Which I don't think is really applicable to many people. I think that we're gonna see kind of to give away at least my thoughts at least on it. Most of the people who I had high estimations of, barring maybe like one person, I think relatively stays the same. Whereas there are some people, not all, but some, who I feel a lot better about. And but their rankings from last week reflect how I feel this week. Because that I think was more affected. Like we'll go to Baravi. It's someone on Baravi specifically that I'm talking about when saying like
That
how
they're
well
gonna
this
that like their rankings really gonna change for you.
like probably not. But it's like because my rankings last week I think were largely affected by like the information that I knew that we found out this round. So
Hmm.
we can start off top to bottom, um,
That's fine.
if we want to. And first person, unfortunately. Usually we leave the boot. We've had the boot for last or like close to the end of the Stockwatch. But this round we lost Aston. Jared, how do you feel? You could be the first one to give Aston a start.
I feel like we always have to give a disclaimer on these stock watches that like we have none of this is actually like negative towards the player. We are just evaluating their game. We have no hate towards these people. Aston just unfortunately this round and all the other rounds just wasn't active just due to some things going on. So there's not a lot to say on their game.
I'm
So
sorry, I was muted. You can continue going. I'm just trying to like do something real quick, and I'll bring the
okay.
chair back up. You could continue talking.
Um so yeah, Aston was the one who left this week or this round. Um they again just didn't really do a lot. They they were in a good position to potentially survive, but their inactivity kind of bit them in the butt. And they got my disadvantage. And so even if they were in a good position, they would have been bad at like they would have been in trouble potentially in this tribal because they would have had to vote in the minority. Um, but even though they had the four Baravi or three of their original Baravi, they just couldn't recover from it, and Jay just put in the effort that he needed to survive. Um, Stalling aside, I had to keep Aston with the one.
Yeah, here's the thing about Aston specifically. I think that I've given some flack to some players who haven't been as active or as talkative with people, and been very cautious with Aston specifically because Aston's activity level is very tied to something like that Aston has going on in their life. It's which like you can argue is the same thing for like any person who's busy, busy with their like personal obligations, their job, their career, just inherently being busy. Maybe their lifestyle's really busy. They could be raising a family for all the hell we know, right? But it's very difficult to assess a player and for the player themselves to rebound when they're dealing with something. Because from a production perspective, me ranking or assessing Aston's game, there's so much, there's variance to any game of Survivor and assessing people's, for all we know, people who have been rating low this for the entirety of Stockwatch so far could have been rated higher if they were just on a different starting tribe and just started off a whole lot better and just ended up in a group that they could have meshed better with than the tribe that they ended up starting with. And as a player themselves, it's very difficult for them to recover from dealing with said situation and then having to go around to tell people, oh, but I still want to be here because their activity says the contrary. Because so much of that time that they could have spent socializing or strategizing or like in the game, their headspace mentally is another thing. So they're spending so much time dealing with that and compromising the time they could spend on Discord talking to people about Survivor, which like with what Aston has going on, I'm never going to bash someone for taking care of that over the game. So I try my best to remove that when assessing someone as a player or their gameplay. Um, it was tough, but I did get on a call with Caleb and Jeremy, which I think was the last VC that took place before the hypothetical tribal council will take place for anybody. And Jeremy was like, I feel like Aston is the move there. Aston was not around, and voting off J1 would basically just be Aston, Bryant, Kevin, and Sam all saying, vote us off, come merge. Because I think that tribe is specifically still expecting it to be a merge. And Bryant, we'll get to him in just a moment, is the only person who had expressed that maybe it's not, and the super important day is probably merge and like jury and stuff like that, which he didn't say jury, but it's implied. Um, yeah, no, unfortunately, Aston, like you said, J1 put in a lot of work to make sure that he was going to at least be safe this round. We'll get to talking about how complicated this move is. Well, it's not like whether or not like it's optimal gameplay or not. Long term, I think this was a good move, unfortunately, for the people who are involved. So I can't think that in that regard, this was a blunder. I feel bad for Aston, of course, being dealt with the hand that they have been dealt with. I'm glad that they were able to get a couple wins under their belt on the OG Baravi tribe, and that was kind of my hope that pre-merge would at least buy them some time to forge some bonds, or maybe the shuffle would have been more favorable towards them, but they kind of ended up back into the same position that they were beforehand. And almost like this is how I could have seen Aston versus Morgan playing out if they had lost on OG Baravi, where it's like J1 is the Morgan, being the more talkative person, trying to give like trying to forge these relationships with like Kevin and Sanam and whatnot. I will like unfortunately they got booted, and I don't think gave as much of a fight as Marvin did before us, nor were they as screwed, I believe, as Issa was. So I also had to give them a one. Adore you, Aston, if you're watching this postseason, if we choose to make this public. But Bryant, there was some contemplating pre-tribal about what he should be doing. I'm Jared. If you would like to go first, you can talk about Brian as well, because I still don't know what to rank him right
Yeah, Bryant's interesting because of his shenanigans pre. Did I think he would do his shenanigans? No, just because I think that it would hurt him too much to do shenanigans. And Bryant knows better than to do that. Um, but I mean, on this tribe, Bryant, I feel, is well positioned on this is where actually I need trust rankings. Um, in one person in particular. Okay. Um, so yeah, Bryant was debating throwing a rogue vote on Sanam for whatever reason to potentially get rid of her idol to in case Jaewon played something. Um, and also in case Aston didn't vote within the minority, then he could maybe like pin the vote on someone else and do some crazy stuff. He didn't end up doing that. Um, he's apparently built a decent rapport with Jaewon. I believe he said in his prod chat that he, I think he told a lot of info to Jaewon. So he's really he's putting some stock into Jaewon so that hopefully, in case something would have happened, Bryant would have been safe regardless. Um, but but the good thing about Bryant though is he realizes Kevin and Sanam are incredibly close. So he's observant. Bryant is like you, Jacob. I'm struggling to figure out what to rate him.
It,
Last week I gave him a 6.
my range is big. That's the difficult thing. Because like I think for every person up until this point, I think it's been like one, maybe two is like the difference between like the lowest I could possibly give them and the highest I possibly could give them. My range for Bryant could be like barely higher, like a 7. Like I think is making some good strides. And I think like was losing that battle like to Kevin and Sanan to try to at least gain J1's trust. So at least in the short term, they would be more better positioned than J1 would be. They would be better positioned than Bryant would be, but could also be as low as 4. Like it's and not necessarily because like I think like oh he's going to get caught, but I'm just like I just think he would be the most in danger due to the fact that J1 has an idol. It's like if they lose again. Like, granted, maybe J1 just simply just doesn't think he needs to play it. But Bryant giving him all this information, I think, would make it so that J1's chances of playing the advantage are increased. Therefore, the chances of Bryant going home in that scenario is increased. So it's like, I think Bryant has been a very interesting player to assess like compared to the rest of the bananas because I feel like I could see relatively where the bananas will go long term, like what their thoughts are. Because Kevin and Sam, they're certified yappers, and Jeremy, I think, is very open with this strategy with us as well, where they're like gauging, like, okay, I need to move on with the bananas. This is my core. Maybe pick up a couple numbers here and there. And if they need to reevaluate, then they will tell us as they're reevaluating this. Bryant is already contemplating it now, and when he had said that he's waiting on J1 to get approval to do the 2-2-1. I'm scared because I'm thinking, yeah, would this work? Yes. But I think that getting rid of Kevin Sanam this soon is unnecessary. So
Agreed.
many quick because I don't think people are going to be curious about what happened in the tribal council seeing that Aston got sent home. I think most people will be like, okay, that makes sense, like it would be dumb. Like and even people not from OG Baravi, it's like it would be dumb for them to not vote off a Baravi here, even with J1 still there, because if they lose again, they could just put them off then afterwards. But it's just telling them that they're going to play tribe strong. And those 4 would be the first to go when hypothetical merge that they think is happening at 13, but is not. But getting rid of Kevin or Sanam. If they see that announcement, like getting a first look at the Reluve tribe, Sanam was voted out at the last tribal council. People would just be fucking confused. Like people would just like,
I
what the
think
fuck happened?
they would speculate that something was played to get rid of
Yeah,
Sam.
maybe. But it's like if any of the people not involved in that plan, which would have been most of the tribe, unless Bryant was also trying to clue in Aston on this as well and say, hey, the vote was going to be you. It's like, I don't think he was gonna. So it's
Sanam
like
already clued Aston into the fact that the
they were.
vote it was either them or Jay who was gonna leave.
Oh boy, we'll get to Sanam later. I will. Okay, I think he has shown lots of promise, and considering another player who had revealed the bananas or like is trying to this information, this alliance is getting out. This alliance is getting leaked. Like no matter what, at least somebody who will be in the game that knows that those people are close. And Bryant is getting ahead of that and is like obviously not to his knowledge, but unbeknownst to him, he's making strides to be like, I know that they're close. It'd be dumb for me to work with these guys moving forward and solely make that my plan. I want to use you. I want to work with you. I want to play this game with you. So I'm assuming I gave it 6 last time too. So
You did.
because it was, I think I gave Bryant 6, Jeremy 7, Kevin 8, Sanem 9. That checks. I think
Yeah.
that's it. So I'm going to give Bryant a 6 for now, but could be swayed. Don't, I talked myself out of giving him like a 5.
I think I have to stick with the six as well because I think that we have to see the fruits of his labor
Yeah.
to raise him.
Mhm.
But I think that he hasn't done anything negative yet. It's like the fruits of his labor, they haven't improved his game yet, but they also haven't hurt his game yet.
Mhm.
So,
Speaking of fruits of labor, we're going to move on to J1 here, who, I mean, we saw fruits of his labor tonight. I mean, Aston even, okay, here's the weird thing, because Aston was open about their disadvantage to Sanam,
mhm.
and probably was open to, with everybody else. Um, and so Aston, in the world that J1 could go home, Aston's worried that like they have to vote for someone not named J1 because then this will come with like this penalty. So like a part of me is like, oh cool, J1 somehow left this tribe without getting votes, but like there's like stipulations to that. So while I won't give him credit necessarily for that, I give him credit for just surviving this tribal council, getting out the person he had marked for death with his ring, um, and essentially bought himself to the next swap, unless he's so confident that Kevin and Sanam will be voting for Bryant, and Bryant like he won't need to use it. Which, if they go again, I can't in good faith. I mean, this is coming from a guy who's done this before, and gotten voted off because of it. If I have an idol, and I am one of 4 people to go, I'm getting the fuck out of it. If I have any say about that, I'm no fucking way. Like, damn, rip the 3 of y'all for figuring that out, but it ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna be flaunting that shit all around all day and just play it. I'm not taking that risk because I made that mistake before. I hope J1 doesn't make that mistake if they were to lose again. But because Bryant is putting in all this work, um, J1 has some leverage. J1 could potentially use his idol, maybe snipe a Kevin or a Sanam out of the game. They have lots of stock, obviously, as we've seen in past stock watches. Clearly are in good spots right now. They could usurp them of their power, maybe shake up the game a little bit. Um, but risk an enemy, making an enemy out of Kevin and Sanam. Um, he could leak and snitch on Bryant to Kevin and Sanam and just be like, look, I could use my idol right now and get one of y'all out, but y'all are my people. I think we should move forward. Both of our idols, we can fake some type of narrative, come a swap or a merge, and lie about what happened during the Bryant Tribal Council. Like, I just pretend that y'all weren't trying to, whatever. Like, J1 has options. At least it's next tribal council, and should emphasis on should be safe. I know I also said Zach should use his power in BB27, but he didn't use it when he was on the fucking block, and the 10K power, the 10K bribe. But I feel like in a position where he should have gone home, just looking at the numbers of it all, I'm going to give him. I'm between a 6 and a 7, to be honest. I'll give him a 6 because I unfortunately could see a world where J1 does not use this and could just easily be sniped, or he doesn't even need to go to tribal council to make a big move like this at all. And make a big decision, I mean. But tell me how you feel about J1.
I'm so conflicted on him, like you. Like, he, I had to give him points because he survived his tribal. Like you said, he took the ring off, so now he can use the idol. So really, he's in such a better position than he was, um, last tribal he was at, and even going into this tribal. And because he, like, based off trust rankings, I don't think that he would rat out Bryant, but I think that if like he idled someone out, I think that it would be Kevin who got sniped just based off trust rankings alone. And I think that they, I don't know what Bryant would do if he would to S- reveal to Jay that Sanam has an idol or not to possibly get rid of it to make it a bigger move. Where did Bryant rank?
Because Bryant, I think, was like Bryant put J1 number one.
Yeah,
That
but that
much.
was because he realizes how close Sanam and Kevin are.
Yeah. So it's like it's less so like anything like J1. That's why like so I'm like if this was I think J1 doing really good work and Bryant putting J1 number one, like this the fact that someone you've only known for 3 days is higher than people you've known for 2 weeks. It's gonna make me side-eye the person with the trust ranking more, but look at the person at the top a little highly. But it's just like it's more so it's less so what J1 did to what Kevin and Sanam are doing currently. Um
You know, I think I'm gonna give him a 7 because I like his positioning now going into this round. Again, he can play the idol now. Um, and I think that Jeremy is he's kind of spilling the beans on the bananas. So I think that Kevin and Sandam could be in trouble. And I think that with these two maybe being seen as guiding the tribe more, J1 has secured more time in the game as long as like they don't lose the next um challenge so that he doesn't have to play his idol. Because I think right now he has a lot of power because he has the idol.
Not gonna lie, honestly, I just thought about something that kind of makes me bump him up to a seven. Because like if they don't lose, he has this alliance with Kevin and Sanam. He has an in with the bananas. Even with Bryant as well, he also has that in. He could rely on Bryant to eventually make a move on the bananas if he needs to, because now he's privy to this information. And knowing what we know about Baravi and Vuluvu and who would likely go, it's not Lily, it's not Edward. So he should be heading into the second swap with a good chunk of allies from which he has like the banana people. He should have Morgan still at least, and he should have the Gel Alliance still intact. So it's like he has lots of allies, and the swap probability wise should be favorable towards J1. So honestly, yeah, no, you've reminded me about that. Honestly, I gotta bump him up to a seven just because like I just don't. But again, like the reason why I'm so hesitant and like why I gave him a six is because like I don't know if he's gonna play the idol. Like I'm scared he's not going to do it. All this like oh obviously he's gonna play if they lose again. I'm like he might not.
I don't want them to go to tribal.
Neither do I. But if they do, then I just hope Jay's not dumb and doesn't play the idol now. It's like okay fine. I got lucky because Aston got sent home. I think Bryant's gonna be a harder sell. Just whatever. Um, but Kevin, um, did you want to go first or did you want me to go first?
I'll go first for
All right,
Kevin.
cool, me. And I'll go first with Sunan.
Okay. Last week I gave Kevin an 8. Um, I mean, he's in a good position right now. He still has like I feel like nothing's changed for Kevin, really, you know? He's in the same position he was before. He still has Sanam. He's still working well with Bryant. And he's built good relationship with Jay, but I don't know why I'm debating lowering him to a 7 as well, just because I feel like Kevin's likely to get sniped, as I said, if Jay plays the idol. But you never know. Um, hmm. Give me your thoughts on Kevin.
Um, I'll put you down tentatively as a seven. Um, Obviously, we could change it if
Yeah,
so inclined. Kevin is in a rough spot, and it's a questionable spot. It's not nearly as safe because, like I said earlier, like on paper, this just looks like OG Barafi. Like he has like the bulk, he has the majority on paper. Just has the bananas, has the. I don't think it was the new baklava. It was whatever the hell they named Kevin and Bryant. Um, and then they have
banana
Aston,
split.
the banana split. Okay, they got that. And then they have the Morgan, quote unquote. Because J1, I don't think is a adequate like replacement for Jeremy. It's basically OG Barabi if they did not have Jeremy, where it's like because Bryant is now more is noticing Kevin and Sanam are as close as they are in the short term, it's very dangerous for Bryant and J1 to have let them even survive this round, in the event that they lose again, because those are two people who simply are not going to vote each other off. So the best they could, without advantages even being a factor, like the best they can pull off is a tie. This is really contingent on if J1 trusts. If either J1 reveals he has an idol or Bryant reveals to Jay that Sanam has an idol, that could affect like they can move forward. It's like, oh, we have it now. We have an idol ourselves that we could play. So they can try to make a plan in the event that they lose again. Um, what's making this difficult for Kevin is that now this is the second of the four bananas who have been opened that the bananas exist like to some extent. Like Jeremy was more outright and deliberately just told Edward the alliance. Like he was just like, oh, there's a four-person alliance of me, Kevin, Sanam, and Brian. And if you see any banana reactions, that's why. That's code. That's us. We're running shit. We're the bananas theory. That's their name. Um, and Bryant wasn't as direct, but kind of already planting the seeds and kind of like he's going to lead in to maybe eventually revealing the bananas down the road. So it's like come a swap or a merge. If Kevin's on the minority, then Kevin can find himself in a lot of danger, just like to get rid of that alliance. And with Jeremy and Bryant, um, on record saying like, "Oh, I don't want to work with this group," but Kevin and Sanam are. Kevin and Sanam are going to push for people not in those bananas to move forward, which would put Kevin and Sanam in more danger than Bryant and Jeremy, who seem to be a bit more fluid. Um, like ultimately he does make that alliance with J1. He does obviously have some rapport with Bryant, to where Bryant would rather snipe Sanam than Kevin. So Bryant's making this pitch is going to be with the intention of getting Sanam out. And at least J1 and Kevin have like history, so like that's possible. Like just looking at trust rankings,
Oh
J1 would
yeah.
probably rather have Kevin get sent home, but it's like I think he sees Kevin and Sanam largely as interchangeable. It's ever so just like marginally because Kevin and Jay have bad blood here, but good
Hmm.
blood. I think I've never heard someone use the word good blood before, but now I did. So it's like, do I give Kevin a six? Do I give him a seven? Um, because it's been
Ooh.
controlled, and Edward is the only person who knows. Like, about that existing that's not in the bananas themselves. I'm going to give Kevin a seven. Kevin a seven. Kevin seven. But if we'll see how this round plays out. He could go lower, and I see argument for Sanam also going lower. So if you have
I
any
think
final thoughts on Kevin,
I think Kevin is like the other it's like Bryant where like Bryant has done more good things for his game. Kevin's grip is slowly loosening on the game. And we're seeing that slip happening right now, but I think that this is still like he might have dropped to like a 7.5 rather than like an 8. Um, just because we're looking at a big picture of how Kevin's game's being affected. So I think the 7 is okay just because we haven't seen that domino fall of Kevin's game is kind of fucked.
now Kevin can catch the domino, or if anything, maybe what happens when you have like a domino, like one domino doesn't fall. Like you
Yeah, he
you
could
think it's
prevent
close.
it.
Like he could prevent it, or it just simply just doesn't happen. Like for all we know, Edward's just gonna sit on this, or might have forgotten about this info. Like you never know. It's just and it's weird because like it's nothing that Kevin's doing himself. I think he's doing really good work. It's
Agree.
just himself. So ranking him and ranking Sanam is hard,
That's why
but
it's like the point five, those like decimal points come in. It's like, that's how we're doing it like in our head.
yeah, it's like Sanam is tricky, and because there's things this round I did not like. I didn't like the thought of intentionally like throwing the challenge. I just I get the idea. I get the idea of getting rid of Aston, and it's tricky because they are not privy to the fact that well, they didn't know Aston had this disadvantage beforehand, which made it so that like if Aston had another advantage, which was her fear, that they would basically be forced to throw their votes on one of the bananas. Like at least that's how Aston is selling this fact. Maybe that was fine, but of course they wouldn't have known by voting off Aston and Aston specifically and being swapped with Aston specifically with J1 would mean J1 would now have the free reins to play an idol. Because one of the things that Sanam said as rationale for, and Kevin I think said this as well, but I think Sanam was the first to express this, was like, oh, this round we don't want to give J1 too much reassurance, so he plays it this round. Because then why would he play something next round? Like if he doesn't play it here, then like he clearly must not have anything. So Sanam's under the impression, oh, J1 has nothing. He does not have an idol. He would have played it last round. He's a mad lad otherwise. Which J1's not a mad lad. He was forced to by circumstance. He was a fortunate lad, if you would like, a sad lad. So don't like that. Don't like Sanam, like, and obviously Aston Khan's like, what does it matter? But like Sanam saying, I'm gonna be real with you. You are Jay on the vote. So you should just vote J1 and just like you won't have to worry about this. Like hopefully we don't lose and we don't have to worry about this, but it's just like it's either you get voted off or you vote J1 out. And like you're in the game still, even though you lost your vote. Which I'm like that I wouldn't be being so direct and just being like either you lose your vote or you go home. Which if it was any other person other than Aston on this cast, that would not work. That would not go well. And especially like as confident Sanam was that she was going to lose this challenge, like which like yeah, they did. Cool. But who knows if like fucking Edward wouldn't be asked at charade. Like you don't know. It's like Sanam doing all these doing that, not knowing for sure if she was losing makes me worried. And actually, I'm more worried for her than Kevin when regarding if the bananas gets leaked because because one of them just gave it to Edward. I don't know why Jeremy did it. We'll get to him when we get to Voulez, but Bryant is already getting ahead of us. Like we have to snipe Snam because Snam has an idol. Like that's his thought process. That's whom he would target of Kevin and Sanam. And that's the main reason why he's doing this is because those two specifically are close. Not the three, even though Bryant is concerned about being the fourth. But his biggest concern has been Kevin and Sanam being as tight as they are. So it's like we're already starting to see Kevin and Sanam being grouped up together as a pair, and not doing nearly enough work to separate that. They've literally made a trio with J1 without Brian in it. Like it'd be one thing if they made like a four with all of them. Like everyone's like, okay, let's make a plan. Let's agree to get rid of Aston. Which if they do that now, and J1 says, oh, we have a three, then Brian's like, why the fuck am I the fourth in another group? I just like there's so many things that I'm just like I don't love from Sanam this round. And wanting to go to tribal council is weird. So it's like I want to give her a seven, which I mean ties with Kevin and J1 sevens, but considering how we've ranked her on the last couple of weeks, um, clearly this is a sizable drop.
Yeah, Sanam is hard. Like, I think sometimes the directness that she has is perfect for people, but then sometimes it's not. Um, I had a thought and then I lost it. Oh, the it's hard to knock Kevin and Sanam points for not taking out Jay this round when that was most likely the ideal thing for them to do. I would I go actually back and forth on what the ideal move for them would have been, voting out Aston versus voting out Jay. Um, but it's hard to knock points for not getting rid of Jay because they don't know the circumstances of his items. Like, how the hell are they supposed to guess that Jay can't play his idol because of this other item that he has? Their logic like makes sense, but I think the execution of it, like you've been saying, was bad. And they are being seen as a target. So we'll have to see what happens in potentially a future swap in a merge. Um, you know what? Give us 777. It's just I hate to drop her that much, but it's just sometimes like the gameplay has been hard to follow why she did it. And also I feel like she's been like a little paranoid um this round. And I understand wanting to throw the challenge to like save your other two potential allies, but I don't know. This round will be interesting to look at retrospectively for Sanam.
And we are back. Back from what? Back from nothing. Nothing at all happened. We're going to move on to the Baravi tribe, which is a very okay. We're starting off strong with Lily. Jared, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? I don't mind either way.
I guess I'll go first for Lily. I don't know how, like, I knew Lily could be in a good position going into this, because she's technically in like a 2-2-1 situation, but she has managed to flip it to being in a 3-2 essentially. But to in the larger picture, to like the sides being Mikey Morgan on one side, Ryu Sergio on the other. They both think that they have Lily, is my understanding and read of the game. But Lily is really with Ryu Sergio. And her charm, like she has like 10 charisma if we're going with the theme of the season. Like charisma 10. They're all just falling for Lily's spell. Like I just can't believe that she's like I can believe, but it's also, crazy to actually think that she's in this amazing position again. The only downside is that, she has Mikey, who she's not the biggest fan of. But it's an easy boot for her, and he would have gone if they went to tribal, if they didn't crush that comp. But like she's just in such an amazing position. Um, it's hard to I it's hard to see her leaving, and no one on this tribe has anything that could get her out unless they just completely flip things. Um, I had to give her a 9. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of just like shocked. Because like based off like you said, like based off like the tribe lines, it should be it's Lily and Mike. It basically Lily alphabetical order here. Lily and Mikey on one side, Ryu and Sergio on the other, and Morgan in the middle. Lily basically stole Morgan's position, like just from them.
they like swapped where they
They
should be.
basically swapped. Like Morgan might as well have started on blue, and Lily might as well have started on tan, just like the way that it's breaking down right now. And Lily making the strides that she is just again, very impressive. Like I feel like while there are some players who are were doing really well on their OG tribe configurations, but kind of dived a little bit like in quality, whether it be just due to just misfortune or like unforced errors or like things they maybe didn't even need to do anything with them. Lily ended up in a spot where it could have been perilous. She could have swapped with anyone from her tribe, but swap with Mikey. Um, and now has found herself as the sought out person from both sides of things, which is insane to me because I thought that I will talk about the rest of that side that Lily's trying to like we'll talk about Ryu and Sergio in just a moment, but I thought that Ryu and Sergio would be fine on this tribe. Like I thought that they would essentially be the decision makers because we saw that Sergio had good rapport with Morgan. Sergio wasn't feeling the greatest on OG Roluve, so easily could have tried to pivot and tried to link up with the Mikey and Morgans of it all because Sergio advertised himself as somebody preseason who's going to be very chaotic. Like he likened himself to King George, which in his defense, because he caught up to heroes versus villains, he said, I feel stupid for even comparing myself to King George because I got to that episode, which I'm assuming is the Frasier boo. Um, but like thinking of that, I'm just and seeing how sought after Ryu was, I thought they would be either of them were more likely to be the Lily right now. And considering the formation of that as like a loose three, because I don't they didn't make an alliance chat. Like they don't know if they even need to had to prepare to go to a tribal council. Um, but I struggled with who I would give the most credit to for the formation of that three. And because all three have their arguments for like who benefits the most. Like position wise, Lily's in the best one, in a better position than either Ryu or Sergio. So I that's indisputable. So I think I also got to give her a nine. High key, I want to give her a 10 just because like she is probably the only person who's really impressed me on both tribes. Um,
And there was talks of a chat being made with Lily, um, Ryu, and Sergio. It just hasn't happened yet.
yeah,
I would predict it would happen like any time now in the coming days.
I, I'm fighting the urge right now as we speak. Like I was gonna say like it cut you off mid sentence. Like fuck you, Jared. I'm doing it 10 anyway. It's like shut up. I don't care. It's my moment to give my first 10 of the season. But I'm just like okay, Jacob, relax. Woosah. Just don't worry. It's nine with a decimal after it. It's now me determining what is fault what was after that decimal. It's definitely a number. It used to be just confident nines, like 9.0, like that's it. But now it's like 9.4, slowly getting to that dreaded 9.5, where I'm like really debating, like, do I bump it all the way up to a 10? Like we
It's
already have
tempting.
it is. Like Lily's done so good. Like I really have no
And
yeah.
I was messing with the trust rankings because we didn't get Mikey's trust, but I'm predicting what he would do. I think Morgan would be number one for him. Lily would most likely be number two. If that's the case, Lily is the most trusted person on the tribe. Again. Like this time she's accomplishing it by getting twos from everyone, which is good. It's good and bad. But then even if everyone's actually pretty jumbled. Like they're pretty close if you just do the even flopping or switching Ryu and Sergio, it just depends on if they get like a 2.25 or a 2.5. So it's like the same thing.
It's
Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's like, are you tied? Are you actually second or are you tied for third? It's like semantics.
it's so
So,
weird.
yeah.
And like I give this credit to J1, but like Lily as well, because like it doesn't look like any of the Gel Alliance is going home. So Lily should not be losing a number integral to her from OG Vulu. Because, as much as she doesn't trust J1, J1 with this idol is useful and is seemed to be like that was his number one. Like that's what he left Vulu believing, like, oh, me and Lily were unlocked, except that's my final two. I was in two alliances with her. And Edward does not know about the alliance the Tawny's Angels alliance, which, if they named
Right.
it Jacob's or Jared's Angels, I'm just saying maybe they would have survived. I'm just saying, see how I was named the Tawny and they flopped. But like, but no, so she shouldn't lose anybody important for her for Bulabu, even if she continues to win and either J1 or Edward finds themselves in more danger. And so much. dramas going on around her that's not involving her at all. Raluve has beef and has some turmoil with like we'll get to him, but like and then Bravi, it's like the banana facade, like the mask of the banana is starting to slip. No pun intended there. But Lily might just bask in the glory of just everyone being mad at each other at some point, just not trusting each other. So it's like everyone's loving Lily. It's pain to just move on to the next person and not give the 10, but I can't do it. It's all probable. It's all like all those like hypothetical, like all these things can happen, but none of these things can happen. And Lily might just get screwed over by just not having enough numbers behind her, like strongly advocating for her. But we move on to Mikey. Um Mikey, and I will give them this. I'll give them this. Um was actually at the challenge. Like one thing that I will give Mikey credit for is if they work on something like they're on a challenge, they're on top of it. Because like after being whom I consider to be the MVP of the word chain challenge when Vuluvu pretty much the only win that the Vuluvu got like OG Vuluvu had or the not loss I think is very much largely credited to Mikey's leadership. Um like all of them were good, but I'd give Mikey a lot of credit for that. And being there, may not have done the greatest, but at least showed up. And kind of similarly to how showing up kind of saved Edward could have saved Mikey. I thought was possible, which it, it didn't. But I do think that at least that Mikey's activity is starting to pick up more. On this drive, unfortunately, it's like it's for me it was noticeable. Like Mikey being ever so slightly more around and more talkative. It wasn't enough to not make him the most inactive person here. But I think that just he's proving his worth in these challenges could potentially be saved. As of right now, Mikey should have gone home. If they were to lose a challenge, Mikey would have gone home, um, 3-2. Um, and which is crazy because if they had lost this challenge and Mikey got voted off over Morgan, they got rid of their third blue. When and Tana's still completely intact, like six people. Like it's pretty crazy. Like I think that and while I believe Morgan will be more likely to, in self-preservation, say, fine, I can get rid of Mikey. I don't know if Mikey would do that to Morgan. Because granted, they did with Zach. He actually has been to tribal council. But already, maybe he's also got dock him for the fact he also got unlucky. That was Lily. Basically his biggest op for using correctly, mind you. Let me emphasize correctly, using the safety without power. It wasn't just like unfounded. Like it was true. He needed that to survive that tribal. Um, where if like he swapped with like a J1 or like an Edward, like maybe things could have panned out, especially J1. I think he would have run this tribe. He would have been on the opposite side of the numbers. She just got unlucky with who we ended up with. Um, what did I give him last week? I gave him probably a not too
Let me
great.
look.
Yeah, actually, I just need a reference on my phone. Like, why do I not have this up at all times? But I do
I
these
got you.
abbreviated.
We gave him ones.
I gave him one. Oof, do I give him one now? What are your thoughts on Mikey?
What you're saying is very true, but I kind of am giving Lily more credit for them doing well in the challenge. But if I had to give like two people credit, I would say it's Mikey and Lily deserve the most credit for the charades immunity win, you know. Um, because Morgan struggled, but those two did carry. The reason I'm giving Lily more credit is because I think that she had more clutch
She was
guesses.
super quick with something like, yeah, no, I get
Yeah, like the llama, I still don't know how she got it so quick. Like it was insane. Um, I'm worried for Mikey this weekend because he has a wedding. He's gonna be inactive again. So everything you said is correct. I saw more activity from him when he could. He showed up to the challenge. I loved to see that. That's what you wanted from Mikey. But still long term, I'm worried. If they lose again, I think he still goes home, especially if he's inactive. Like the for my forecast says. So I was debating a two, but then thinking about it, it's like, do I give him a one again because of that forecast?
I was waffling between. I was considering a two. I hadn't even considered that as like because I know like he like just boarded the flight like earlier.
I
It was
think
either right after the challenge. It was right
it
after
was
the
a
challenge.
couple
Like he
hours after.
yeah, I was about to say like he boarded the flight to Whitley. So it's like he's there, and I didn't even consider like oh damn the way that the challenge falls right onto Saturday. So it's like yeah no that's a good point. I didn't even consider that. I think that with
Do we take the
now
forecast into account?
I think well I'm not going to okay I'm not going to do it but I'm going to still give Mikey a one because I think one of the main reasons why they would want to get rid of Morgan over Mikey or like maybe Lily might want Morgan gone over Mikey it's that it's two things um one being oh all the Bravi's still 6 strong but like that being the main reason while
Hmm.
I think there's like an argument like oh we can get rid of Morgan now as well and like in Rio and Sergio's mind, they don't need to worry about them coming back to this tribe and it being a 2-2 split because at 13 they're merging. Or they at least will not be on these tribes anymore from their perspective. But I just don't think it's within reach. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give Mikey a one. And it's I do see improvement. Don't get me wrong. This is like a 1.5, I feel. I feel
You
bad for
know,
constantly giving the same people one. So it's like
I have to
unfortunate.
agree with the one only mainly because he was gonna go home. I think that's the end of the day, the biggest factor.
Yeah. And do you want to go first for Morgan or do you
I'll
want me to go first?
I'll go first with Morgan, then you can do Ryu, and I'll do Sergio. Um, Morgan's interesting. They obviously have Mikey, and they think they have Lily, but they don't have Lily. They have obviously identified that Ryu and Sergio are working together. And if it was if Morgan had, all the power and, got to get their way, they would have taken out Ryu this round. But they were going to vote Sergio. So, and from Morgan, I was wanting them to establish more allies. And I feel like they aren't potentially utilizing Sergio in the way that they should, even though Sergio was just going to stay loyal to Ryu. I feel like they could do better with Sergio. I don't understand why they don't like Ryu. Maybe it's his overly positive attitude or something. I don't know. Morgan just has said they don't like Ryu. Like it's in the pro chat. Um, but if Mikey leaves next round, I think that Morgan and Lily can still be good. If let's say this they're split in half, Ryu and Sergio stay together, and Lily and Morgan end up on another tribe together. I think that they could still work together. So maybe Morgan has gained an ally. Um, what did gave Morgan a five last time? I'm waffling between like a four and a five, only because they still aren't in a great position. They have Lily potentially on their side, but Lily's still going to side with Ryu and Sergio. And Mikey was going to leave, so that would make their position even worse. They got, again, lucky that they won the challenge. Um, I think I'm gonna go four for now, but I'm open to hearing what you have to say, and it could sway me.
I Here's the thing that's tough. Because if they lose, Mikey goes home. Like, who does Morgan have? Because the Baravi makeup, it's Morgan realistically has nobody from OG Parafi. They aren't close with any one of them. The only person I would have considered them being close to was Sanam, but Sanam has been probably the most vocal and abundantly clear that the bananas is her number one priority, and just everybody else is after them. So that's not good. If they were to swap with Baravi people, they might be viewed as expendable to those people if bananas make up a majority of the tribe, let's say. Um, Chloe is not forging the bond with Rio that I was expecting them to. I Morgan was one of the people who's like, oh, who is this Ryu guy? Like, seemed to be really intrigued, and clearly they're not clicking as well as maybe they could have. And their pre-vote wasn't for Ryu; it was for Sergio. It was for the person whom they have more connection to, and they even themselves said that they believed is less insulated. So already they're already like, okay, I don't want to do this. And getting rid of somebody that could have been unique to Morgan as a connection, like a pre-existing connection, which is not great. It's good that they wouldn't have been the ones going home themselves, give them that much. They would have at least survived the tribal council and should at least make it to the swap because, and that's the best part about this round is that we could have speculated all we want, like, oh, I think this person's going to go home. Oh, I think this person's going to go home. We now know for a fact who would have gone home in each of these respective tribes and how everybody would have voted for, because all of them were basically forced to prepare for a tribal council that they have no idea if they're attending or not. So good on them. But I'm thinking like long term, who do they have? Like you can look at someone like a J1 and see his very precarious spot on Reluve. But I could look at the whole scope of things. I'm like, okay, I could see these people working with him. I could see these people working with him. And but I don't see that right now for Morgan because I'm like, who does Morgan vibe with and have like actually confidently in their corner? I think if they were to win and Lily still maintains that relationship with Morgan, cool, they'll have somebody. But until then, I'm worried for them long term. Um, because if they lose, then Mikey's gone. Barring like another clutch like advantage find from them, which like I think all of the most valuable things have been used and have been bought already. So Mikey can get one of those. Um, I'm because I was contemplating a three, to be honest. I was like a 3 to 5 range because now I'm actually but then I also thought, Hypnotic did not start great for Morgan either. And they were aligned with lots of people who weren't well insulated. So they were always the most protected of their group of people. Um, but they weren't, whenever they tried to take charge, they tried to push a vote or against what other people in the house wanted, they would lose each of those battles. And eventually, through many clawed their way to be in the middle of the house, um, and ended up going on to win the game. Which afterwards they'll refuse ever saying that they weren't trying at the beginning, but that was what they were claiming, and they probably will claim the same thing this season if they do well. But I don't know. I'm gonna. It's boring to agree with you. Um, I could arguably do a three. I could do a four. I'm kind of still teetering right now. A part of me still wants to give Lily the 10, and that's why I've been eyeing at this whole time. But like let's just move on. Let's move forward. Um, Now let me be different. I'll give it a three. Ryu, Ryu is tough. I think Ryu put in the most work to get that three to be the three. I think Lily had been sociable with everybody this round, and was kind of like going in there open-minded. Ryu saw an objective as like, I need to get Lily. Like that like he correctly pinpointed. And very much thanks to Sergio giving him the info that Mikey and Morgan are close. That's like, okay, we can't fight for Morgan because we know Morgan's gonna be voting. We need to fight for Lily to get control at least of this tribe in the short term and won that battle. Granted, Lily trusts Sergio more than him and is not the most popular with Morgan right now, so his position isn't amazing, but I think it's also like it's like I want to give him the most credit because I think he was telling us in his prod chat, like the outline of like these are the things that me and Lily are going to talk about. We're going to talk about this, talk about this, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about this, and an outline of like what things I might bring up. Talking about potentially bringing up the condom that he has, that does absolutely nothing at all in the game. He just got it from beating a boss battle once, and like even though the write-up doesn't say anything alluding to the fact that it gives safety, I mean it is what it is. It is protection, so like it's implied, right? But also talked about potentially trying to paint Ali and Caleb's targets to be bigger and trying to separate himself and Sergio a little bit. Like I think he's actually doing more to avoid falling into this trap that I think some of these other duos are falling in to, where it's like it's so obvious that they're close, that they're and people are just they themselves aren't are not trying to hide it. So it's like Ryu is actually doing something that gives me more faith in him than a good chunk of the people we actually ranked pretty high right now, to hide the fact that like, hey, I'm close with Sergio. I have Sergio as someone on my team, at least for right now. Which granted, Morgan did find out that Ryu and Sergio were together. I don't know how much of that is influenced by Morgan believing they are the swing votes, because also earlier, they were also saying I'm vibing with the blue people more. It's kind of like possibly seeing this from like tribal lines, and whether it be like, does Morgan think that Ryu and Sergio are actually close, or Ryu and Sergio are close by circumstance and would not vote each other if they were to go to tribal council? I'm not entirely sure. Um, but Ryu shouldn't have gone home, even if Mikey and Morgan won in that battle, because they would have voted off Sergio. So I'm gonna I kind of want to. I'm honestly considering an eight. And I'll leave it at seven for right now, but I can be swayed.
I don't know what it is about Ryu. Maybe his charm worked on me, but I don't know what it was. I loved what he did this round, even though like Morgan obviously has like their eyes set on him to get rid of as like their ultimate goal. If like again, as I said, if it was up to Morgan, Ryu would be gone. But Ryu just put in the work this round. And, his seeds with Sergio are paying off. He knows Sergio trusts him. So Sergio, he doesn't have to worry about. He put in the work with Lily. They info dumped to each other. And so I don't know, like, I'm very impressed with him this round. And I think because of how much his reads are being currently correct and also identifying Aaliyah and Caleb as targets for future, like he's just if Lily wasn't on this tribe, I think he would be the highest rated person on this tribe for me. And just because of I don't know, I'm impressed by everything that he's doing. I think I had to give him the eight.
You were real time convincing me to bump him up to a nine, because like now like because like I'm just like, why the fuck would I give him a seven? He's definitely not a seven. So like I'm sorry, Ryu, for not believing in you more. I'm sorry, Ryu. I always believed in you. I swear, even though you're a Soroman. Um, he is like, yeah, he just put in the work. Like I think what there's a connection. There's a relationship I really want to see happen. I need Bryant and Ryu to link up.
Well, and they can like
If because the swap's coming up soon. I
well,
want
and
this. Yeah, sorry.
no, well, I'm just adding on and like helping your case. Like if Ryu, Lily, and Bryant are all on a tribe together, that's an easy connection for them three to work together.
Like
And I
both like
think Lily wants to work with Bryant.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would too. It's that would be such a oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I'm now just like I just realizing this now, like the parallels with like Bryant and Ryu in a way where it's like there's somebody who's running the tribe around them. So they're not the most powerful person, but they're probably the most aware, probably even more aware than the people in better positions than them, about what is going on in the game. And arguably that's way better than any like just like solely a social standing. And in the tribe phase of the game, I have to put my stocks and money into that person who's just in a better position, because the people who are aware that they're in a better position are actively vocalizing they're not doing anything about it. But come like a merge situation, I see these contenders very much shifting because Ryu, while I do think Ali and Caleb will be loyal to him, to be flexible enough to be like, okay, I have to make this move at some point. But when do I do this? It's a matter of like, who of Bryant and Ryu do I have more faith in like timing? I think Ryu's position is better here than Bryant's is over there, but I think their conundrum is very similar. It's
Agree.
like they feel like they're at the bottom of a group led by a duo that's not doing anything. And unfortunately, this swap, I think, will only further exacerbate the fact that they're close with each other. So high key, I mean, I'm also gonna give him a nine. You didn't even speak me up to like just one spot. You spoke me up two spots. Um, but we move on to Sergio, which I think still has arguments for like whether like this trio benefits him the most because he is the most trusted within the trio. Both Lily and Ryu both trust Sergio the most within this group if this group were to be made. However, it does not change the fact that he was the alternative target over Mikey. Like he would have survived because Lily has a hate boner for Mikey partially because of that, but also like he genuinely also did good work with Lily and is doing a lot of good work with Sergio as well. Sergio did a lot of good work with Ryu, informing him about the connection with Mikey and Morgan, and kind of like full warning him, like, look, hey, like, let's do this thing. I'm just now realizing you were supposed to go first. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you keep going, keep going.
Sorry. I get carried away. So it'll be moving forward. It'll be you first, me first, you first, me first, you first, and we'll be fine. We'll be great. We got there. Love you, Jared. So Sergio like has a solid shot of making it far in this game, and I'm happy for it because it's like Sergio isn't involving himself in any drama. Like he's has people advocating for him. This investment Ryu put into Sergio before they swapped is paying dividends for Ryu, of course. But obviously, this is really good for Sergio because Sergio now finally has like a confidant. Because I keep seeing, I'm seeing lots of duos. I'm seeing lots of duos like within the OG tribes, even the new tribes. I'm seeing this, and I'm like, I was like, who is Sergio's guy or person, whatever. And Sergio now has that, which is great for him. And he will like while Morgan did vote, was intending on voting for him because he was probably more paranoid and less reliable moving forward, like in the future. Um, they also made the point that he is like assumably less insulated, which I'm like, if there's all these duos, if there's all these people being paired up and already being grouped together, like no one's going to look at Rio and Sergio and be like, oh, those two need to be like, no, the fuck they won't, because like they don't have connections in the grand scope of the thing either, like aside from their duo. So it's like I was impressed with him this week. I do I think I could give him as high of ratings as Lily and Ryu? No, because he was in a decent amount of danger. I gave him a six last round, and honestly, I'm between giving him another six, potentially giving him a seven. I think this was the person I was talking about, where I was like, oh, their stock last week, I think was very heavily influenced by like what ifs and hypotheticals
Mhm.
and like what I saw would come of them in the swap. So Sergio got a six last week. I think a lot of because of what ends up happening, or at least what I thought would. So Jared Bowman, you can talk about him now.
Um, yes, I think everything you said is so correct about Sergio. I do worry in the future that if Ryu and Sergio stay together, like, keep staying on the tribe together, they could be seen as a duo that is more obvious than it is currently. Um, but we'll have to see what happens with that. That's a very hypothetical question. Um, I mean, we have to give Sergio props is the main thing because he got two first place votes in trust rankings for the first time. And like I put this in the prod chat, his stocks are going up. Like he he put in the right amount of activity level with the correct people to make sure he was safe. Um, and I'm really impressed with this round. Last round I gave him a five. I'm not giving him a five this time. Um, I'm debating the six, but it's almost like, do I debate the seven? Because,
I think seven's fair. I was contemplating it too.
but I'm looking at the sevens and comparing it to like Kevin Sanam and J1. Um, okay, I think I'm gonna do the six because I'm gonna keep with what I'm doing of he's gradually growing in this. And I like his momentum in positive direction. So I think it's maybe like a 6.5 or maybe like a, in between like a 6.5 and a 6.0 maybe, but it's growing.
Yeah, no, I'm really impressed by him, and that was like one thing like making me hesitant too. It's like we've been putting like J1, Kevin Sanan like consistently like decently high. I think J1, I think may have had like a six last round for me. I think it was six. Then Kevin and Sanan
Yes.
were treading to eight and like nine territory and like debatable 10 territory. It's like putting Sergio at even playing field as them, I think is pretty extreme. I think we have to see how this next round really plays out. But like I
Hmm.
could see a world where I'm putting Sergio as like a contender because like no one's looking at him. Like I think that once he makes it to the merge, like yes, he could hypothetically be like in danger, just be like, oh, like the least talkative person. Just get that person out. They need an easy vote. But we know that the first vote of the merge is never easy. It's never simple. It's always complicated. Um, we've had like a I think every season where it's a boring unanimous decision, it's mania. But even the unanimous boot, I didn't think was going to be the unanimous boot, like going in. If that makes sense. I'm not explain. It's
Do you mean going into the live night? You didn't
like
think,
going into the live night. I didn't think they would have been the target. It's like, oh well, I was expecting that to
oh,
happen. Expecting someone else because I thought someone was playing worse than the person who got
hmm.
that boot. Um, but like I said, you will go for. I almost
Can,
jumped
oh,
right into it.
can I have a petition to we don't start with Aaliyah? Because I don't want to end on, is it bad I don't want to end on Tommy?
I mean, we've been ending on Mikey for like the past couple. It kind of gets boring after a while. So honestly, I get it. Let's we can go backwards for move if you would like. Um, so but you still have to go first. Well, I
Yeah,
guess
I
no
know,
matter
but
what, you yes, we could yes, you can go first. If you do you want if you want to start with Tommy, we can start with
yeah,
Tommy.
I just don't want to, like, this sounds bad. I want to, everyone else is, I think, more interesting to talk about their game, whereas Tommy's is kind of repetitive what we'll be saying about him. And also, like, I want to end these stock rankings on a higher number than what it'll get, which is so mean.
I get it. But yeah, no, talk about Tommy. Or what you can.
Um, I mean, I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. He's getting a one. Oh, okay. Well, actually, put him as the one. I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna hear you. I might change it. The one is coming from, I believe he would have gone home if they went to tribal. Same thing as Mikey. So that factors into the one. Um, I mean, at one point I thought that he was actually safe with Caleb and Aaliyah because they saw him, as a number and like they needed him. But then things happened and now they're like, yeah, we don't really want him around. It's like it's a roller coaster with how they feel about Tommy. It's like a minute they're like, okay, yes, he's loyal, he's on our side, but then another moment they're like, I'm, I don't like, I just can't have him on my tribe anymore due to a myriad of reasons. Um, Lily also, who knows Tommy, doesn't want to play with Tommy, like in his chaos. So I was almost debating like a two or something because like I thought he was in a better position, but then you had to factor in that he was gonna go home. So, and there is like a four, the other four are literally in an alliance chat without him. So
Oh, that must have been new because I
it happened like right before tribal.
gotcha. Okay, that I missed because I was like, what are you talking about? Based off the prefix, it was because here's the thing, Tommy. I was going in here, going tonight, going to like argue maybe a three for him, which like I say that like a three is unbelievable, like an impossible to rank. I don't think because I have only given one person still in the game lower than a three. And one person I changed mid-ranking to a three, um, because in spite of these errors, he swapped into a favorable position where he has the three hotties, and he also has Jeremy first thing when they hop on this tribe saying, "We need to get Tommy." Like to me, I'm like, oh, like Tommy's actually in a great spot. Like he may
I
screw
forgot
it,
that point.
like he may screw it up for himself, but like at least like he should have lots of say in this round. But now you saying this, I was concerned for obviously the reasons we've stressed in the past stock watches with Tommy and just like his prospects in the game just long term and just my concerns with him as a player socially and strategically like just his where his mental is at like how paranoid he gets how overtly strategic he is. But now it's getting to the point where like things I don't think are sus and I would not perceive as sus, Ali and Caleb think is sus. Like Caleb's like, I will just do whatever what y'all want to do. Like just yeah, tell me a name, I'll do it. And Caleb's like, Tommy, if you don't shut the fuck up right now, I'm just like, Tommy's not doing anything. That statement alone, if it was surrounded by like, a bunch of other suspicious stuff, then I'm like fine. But like he's ruined like his like legibility. He's not a credible credibility. Like he's not a credible like reliable narrator or like person anymore to them because of just all the errors he'd done in prior rounds. And I already was dropping that three maybe to a two when I saw because Edward and Jeremy were two of the first people to send in their pre-votes that Edward was going to vote for Tommy, but Jeremy voted for Edward because they were just like, it ain't gonna happen now. I mean, there's no way Tommy's going to flip on these people. Just it's going to be one of me or Edward, like from Jeremy's perspective, in which like we'll get to them in just a moment. But I'm just like any power Tommy could have had, Jeremy basically just said, "Ali and Caleb, they choose my fate." Basically, it's either me or Edward going home. It's like Tommy didn't even end up with the say by the time that tribal council was going to potentially happen. But now they make this group, and Ali and Caleb, which actually boosts up my score for Jeremy when we get to him. Actually, no. It'll boost my score for Edward. Potentially for both. Oh my gosh, because
But
that's news to me. Yeah,
just really quickly, the way Tommy was also making it seem to like Edward and Jeremy was that
they
he's
were just saying.
pushing, huh?
Sorry, continue. Yeah, but
Oh, I was just saying that he's pushing the decision making. He's making it seem like the decision making is coming from Aaliyah and Caleb. And so they pretty much, ruled out the fact that they could even rely on him as someone to flip. So he ruined that for himself. That's all I needed to add.
he had like you can talk about all you want about like people who theoretically could have been swing votes. Like Bryant could have been a swing vote. He opted to go for Assen, which I think is the smarter move for him long term. And I'm staring at his six, and just like me tempting to rank Lily higher, I want to rank Bryant higher. It's, I don't know. There's people that I'm like, damn, I'm tired of giving the same ratings like week in and week out, but unfortunately, this is how the cookie crumbles. Um, but it's like, and you could argue, oh, Morgan could have been, but Tommy had the like those two still had to put in work to like maintain that position. Like Bryant had to do a lot if he really wanted Ashton and J1 to be like a side to combat Kevin and Sinan. Morgan had to put in a lot of work with Lily and had failed. But Tommy had it in the palm of his hand. He could not have gotten possibly a better swap if he needed it to. Like, yes, like he could have swapped with like Bryant and Lily. Like, I guess that possibly could have been better for him because like those are people who actually know him, and he could have just innately been like, do I rock with my alliance or do I rock with the DCP people? Like, I guess that's probably the only situation that might have been better than this one specifically. But he got somebody who, minute one, when they swapped, is like, we need Tommy, and just fucked it up for himself. And I, without that, I still would have given him a two because at some point he was not the vote, and for a good chunk of the round was not. Um, and even going to tribal council, we have Ali and Caleb both ranking Tommy at second, in spite of all this stuff, because they're just like, we need the numbers. But seeing that chat be made moments before tribal lead me to believe, just like you, that Tommy very likely could have gone home.
You can choose if you want to do, I don't
Oh,
know what order you want to do it in.
oh
If
wait,
you
yeah.
want to do Jeremy or Aaliyah, you could pick.
I was just going to commit to the backwards thing.
Okay, we can do that.
I can't, we might do that just forever. Like we might just like just go
That's
down
fine.
like a snake draft. But yeah, no. So Jeremy, um, Jeremy, I was worried about. Because at first he was gonna go home. Like just looking at like obviously Tommy's pushing for it. Caleb had, I'm pretty sure pre-voted Jeremy or like on like his list or whether it be going by trust rankings or going by like voting. I think he would have voted for Jeremy over Edward. Whether it be like how much of this was due to Tommy's like insistence, I don't know. But Jeremy, like I mentioned earlier, was the last call before tribal council that was going on was between him and Caleb, which this is presumably where this alliance of four is coming from. And while I did agree with his philosophy at first in the short term to try to rope in Tommy as a number, I end up supporting Edward's vote more by like the if we were just because Jeremy eventually concedes, eventually gives up and is just like resigned to the idea that there's no way he could survive the tribal council like without Tommy. And when Tommy is basically forfeiting any independence of himself to Ali and Caleb, he's like, okay, now it's done. It's three versus two. It's me or Edward. I need to vote off Edward. Which again I don't like. Is on paper. Like even if he did save himself by the end of it, it took a lot to get there. It took pretty much 20 minutes before tribal council to get there. Which maybe it could have been not as close. That would have been great. Um, because now I think it's optimal for that's Jeremy and Edward's pitch. Like at the point where Tommy's basically like a like a lost cause to try to flip onto your side. The goal would be to get Ali and Caleb because Jeremy's one of the biggest proponents. Like, oh, it's merged on 13 because of Bryant's legacy advantage. Like, why would it be the case if it was still merged? Like, if it wasn't merged, um, and so it's like, why go into merge with a potential enemy in either Lee or Caleb when you could instead align with them, try to paint Tommy as untrustworthy and as unreliable as possible, which is believable from him, not just because of stuff evidence here, because he's played with him before, because he literally was on the cast with him last season. So he can spin this narrative to Tommy however he wants. So he has lots of control over Tommy's portrayal because he's the only one here of the four who've played with him. But I feel like I had to at least drop him lower to because he also tells Edward about the bananas, which I think Bryant makes sense for him to do this. I don't know if this makes as much sense for Jeremy to do this right now. I'm going to bump him down to a six. I argued a five and can be swayed if you convince me to. drop him down. It's actually the opposite of what we usually do. It's like you could convince me to go higher. It's like no, you could convince me to a five if it's negative.
Um, Jeremy's interesting because Jeremy is like Jeremy and Edward are like Morgan and Mikey in the sense of like they are two people who have history and are working together. Like these two wanted to play together. So that's why I'm like comparing them to Morgan and Mikey, just in that sense. Um, so they have each other as like number ones right now. I Jeremy is still just impossible to read for me, just from even like no matter where he no matter what. Um, yeah, the t spilling everything to Edward's interesting. I don't understand the move. I wonder if it'll be good for him long term. So maybe like Jeremy can get in with like Edward and Lily with that move, so then they could take down the bananas. Um, but Tommy voting Jeremy when I thought at one point Tommy was saying that he didn't want to vote Jeremy. I could be wrong about that, but I thought
Probably
that
at
he
some
was
point.
that it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
Tommy's mind just constantly flips. Um, I don't know. Jeremy, like his goal is chaos, but like he's not doing very many chaotic moves. Um, I'm gonna give him a seven, but it's like a low seven because he survived. I don't think he was gonna go home. I still see good prospects for him in the future. I don't really see him being a target, but the seven's debatable.
That's fair. But for our agreement, yeah, you also go first with I'm trying to like get ahead like I'm trying to remember it's like okay, I go first for Caleb. That is it. That is the only person I go first for. Just let Jared talk. Just let it's not go crazy. So it's not just me agreeing with you or you agreeing with me,
Yeah.
everything. Just okay.
Edward, Edward's put in good work this round. I would say arguably, oh, actually, sorry. I think him and Jeremy have done good work this round in connecting with Aaliyah and Caleb, but they both do recognize Aaliyah and Caleb are big targets and will want to target them later on. But Edward still has Lily in the game, and I think that they would reconnect. Um, I think Edward would still want to work with Jay. He has Jeremy now. Um, and he, I believe, has built trust with Aaliyah and Caleb. So I've liked what he's done. He's in this four-person alliance. Um, it's just been a really positive for Edward just overall. Um, last week I gave him a four. I think I have to increase that. But
I
it's like how
forgot you gave him a four. I was like,
well,
can't be.
you have to remember
It
he
was
almost went home.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
But I don't know how high to go. Um, I think I'm gonna go right now. I'm gonna go a six. I like what he's done. He's in a better position. He wasn't gonna go home. If anything, it was gonna be Jeremy. But
Me
I'm
just
open. My things might change.
me just realizing because I don't know slang. I'm not caught up with the lingo of nowadays of the youngins and whatnot, the Gerbers. Um, I don't know what 6'7", 6'7". I don't know what that is. I just
It
realized like
means nothing. I'm not even joking.
oh really? Oh nice. That's funny.
It's like R21.
Oh, what's nine? Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense. The reason why I bring this up is because want to see something funny? It's just 6, 7 again. It's basically like we swap where we rank Jeremy and Edward. I just like because Edward, I think, had the better idea when like looking at like the pre-votes. It's like Tommy should be the move here. Get rid of Tommy. That's a lost cause. He's clearly going to ride it out with Aaliyah and Caleb. The best move here is to just try to pile up on Tommy. Like, because Jeremy, a lot of his apprehension and fear with trying to loop in Tommy, I think were realized. And like, you can knock like Edward voting for Tommy when Jeremy ends up voting for him. But based off like the pre-votes we got from like the OG Raluve, or the three hotties, Jeremy was going over Edward, even in spite of Edward like pretty much exposing himself as like voting for Tommy, like which would make Tommy even more gung ho
I
about getting
remind me, I have a thought about that later.
okay.
Remind
But
me.
so um Edward, I think like if he survives, which he should, because even if they go through with this four-person alliance and Tommy just straight up goes home if they lose, or if Ali and Caleb decide to shift and it's like, no, we need Tommy. Tommy's a snake, but he's our snake, then I think Jeremy would go over Edward. Edward should be fine. And can potentially link up with a couple people. Obviously, he'll be reunited, maybe with like Lily or Jaewon, potentially. Through Lily and Jaewon's work, he might have an inroads with the alliances the trios that they found themselves in. Um, I think he has a path. Um, Honestly, I could be convinced to bump him down to a 6, and maybe I'm saying the 7 in haste. But I feel like for somebody who should have been like who looked doomed for him to have made it so that he's neither the primary target or the backup target. Like regardless of which route Ali and Caleb go, it doesn't involve getting rid of Edward right now because I think they genuinely really like Edward. To which I think that and in the world where Edward and Jeremy like win out and they are able to finally like wake Tommy up to the position that he's in, like within like the three hotties, which is not good. Then that also doesn't involve a world where Edward goes. So I feel like I see a world where any of the other four people can somehow get taken out. I think some are way more realistic and more likely than others. But I could see a crazy world where Lear or Caleb gets sniped. I don't see a single world where Edward goes home. I don't see it. Even in spite of Jeremy debatably doing more work, I think Edward's doing more effective work. So I know you said you had a thought on maybe that might sway me to put it down to a 6 because it's there. I partially did it because it was funny. It's like a 6, but
No, my thought was that I forgot that Jeremy was like kind of folding and like gonna vote Edward if they went to tribal, even though he didn't need to, and it would like he would then be like, "Oh, I didn't need to do that." So that would have been a bad read on Jeremy's part. So based on everything you said, I'm debating now flipping them and giving Jeremy the 6 and
we can still do
Edward the
the six
7.
seven joke because the 6 and the 7 will be next to each other, just not like on top of each other. As a JO, man, I honestly,
I don't, it was just my thought was that Jeremy didn't, it was a bad read on Jeremy's part for just like giving up on that and voting Edward when he didn't need to. He could have voted Tommy and been fine.
I will say like to give Jeremy a little bit of credit, he in his excerpt, that's what I'm going to call that confessional, his excerpt to Megan explaining why he voted for Edward and why like he's explaining his rationale. And it was yeah, sure, maybe Ali and Caleb are stupid and vote for Tommy, which I don't think is smart for them. I don't think it's so weird. It's like Tommy is how do I put this? Tommy screams, hollers, yells, yodels, merge boot. that is the mergiest merge boot that has ever been merge boot. If we're gonna get a boring live night, it's because Tommy did not win immunity, and everyone's like, this Tommy guy, he needs to go. Like this, and no one objects. If you've met him, you know why. And if you don't haven't met him, then cool, you haven't met the guy yet, so you can vote him off. Like it's like Tommy would theoretically have a couple more rounds. Um, but well, I blame it's one of those weird times where it's like, do I think it's optimal? It's debatable. Like you could argue if it's good for Leah or bad for Leah and Caleb or whatever. But it would be a move where I'm like, I don't blame them though. It probably Tommy would probably messed up somehow along the road to where like he might not be too long for this game anyway. So it's like give
Um,
Jeremy.
I almost kind of disagree. I kind of almost see Tommy being again the last pre-merge boot because he's that chaotic person that's like, do you really want him in jury? Like that's not the reason we got rid of him in season 4. And I was trying to push a little to keep him in season 4 only because of our history and like I knew that he and the game that we played together that he was the last pre-jury boot, and so I felt bad doing it to him. Which again, Tommy, I was not the person who got you out. He says it was me. It was not me, and it low key bugs me, but I know he's just joking. But he gives the person who is like, can we just get rid of this man already? Like he's on his like 10th life, so that's why. But I will stick with the our 6 7s the way that they are. It's just very interchangeable.
That's fair. It's like th this tribe is so weird. It's like I don't want Voluva to go because I'm just like I mean, like for the sake of like wanting something unpredictable, like I have no idea what's going to happen. Then yes, I want Voluva to go, but just like
You
I
you almost just want them to go just so you can like it's like if Bravi went to tribal, it's like you kind of just want them to go so that we can finally potentially get rid of Mikey. No
mm,
offense, that's no offense to Mikey, but I just mean like his inactivity is what's causing it to be like, okay, I'm kind of ready for him to go. Tommy, it's like, okay, how much more chaos are they gonna put up with?
like it's difficult because like I also am scared that Ali and Caleb will not time correctly when to get rid of Tommy, and that will just doom them because like if they keep
I want to know when that timing is.
yeah, because like I part of me was like I think if they lose this next tribal council, I could see an argument going both ways of either getting rid of Jeremy or getting rid of Tommy. Um, if they had lost the first time, getting rid of Tommy, I think would have been worse because
Agree.
on the hypothetical that they lose again, it's a 2-2 situation. Caleb then loses his idol, which I don't think he's told Aaliyah about still. Um,
Wait, sorry, say that again?
because I was about to say, like, if they lost the challenge that Aston got sent home, if
Yeah, yeah,
Louisville lost instead of Veluve, then getting rid of Tommy, I think, is bad because they're going into a 2-2 scenario where if they
correct.
lose a
Agree.
second time, then Caleb is pretty much forced to use his idol. Because there's just in the
Oh
same
yeah, I
vein
forgot
that
Caleb has the idol.
there's
Yeah.
no Caleb and Aaliyah flipping on each other. There's no Edward and Jeremy. I guess in this scenario, I guess Jeremy did, but like because he thinks it's between him and Edward, and there's really
Hmm.
no other alternative, at least from his perspective. That's why he did it. But like now, if they lose just the second time before the swap/merge, I see more arguments for Tommy to go. But with how loyal Tommy is, I believe, to Ali and Caleb, to the point where he's basically turned down this position, that Tommy will be a weapon that Ali and Caleb have on the board just for that. That
But
nobody else can. It's like it's weird. So,
I think that also you have to factor in sometimes you are just when you're in the game, you no matter if getting rid of a person is good or bad for you, there's sometimes just like you just need to get rid of them because and I'm trying to figure out how to word this in a good way.
keeping them around, I think, to keeping around certain people. can send a message to other people that's like,
Well, no, it's just like,
yeah, that's
how
not
much do you want to spend time with him? That's putting it really bad. But I mean, like, there's, you're just like, okay, like, I want to get rid of this person. There, okay, I'm gonna use Rachel Roth as an example here. She has told me that like in games before, she's kind of regretted getting rid of people because like, oh, I'm then trapped with this person who I don't like as much. And it's like I miss this other person. So it's like how much more time do Aaliyah and Caleb want to spend with Tommy? Even though like I think that the better time, I agree. The If they would have gone to tribal, I think it actually would have been a bad move for them to get rid of Tommy this time because then they're in a 2-2. But now I think that it's more optimal potentially for them to get rid of Tommy if they go to tribal this next time.
I think it's flexible. I think it's like there's I don't know. I think there's options. I am under the impression that with Aaliyah and Caleb, because here's the thing, I'm just also just not finding out that there was a group of four, excluding Tommy, that was made. I'm just finding this out now. So it's like for me, I'm like, oh, there's no world. Like, oh, Jeremy was going to home. What are you talking about? Tommy was going to go home, man. Um, because that was either made while I was at work or okay. We have harped so much on this. Like Rip Caleb and Aaliyah. We've almost been talking about them almost like in tandem.
Yeah,
Like the because they have that control. Like they have the power right now. And it's
but it's obvious that they do.
yeah, like it's so weird because it's like Aaliyah and Caleb so obviously have the power. Everyone on the tribe knows it. Edward and Jeremy are hitching on the fact that they're going to get rid of Tommy. They're going to stay loyal to this four-person alliance. Although they know Aaliyah and Caleb are both very close and are very clearly dangerous. Um, but even despite Edward, Jeremy, and Tommy going like before that four was made, all voting different people. They
That's
the
true.
vote the person they vote is like a the opposite of like a love triangle. It's just like Edward wants to stay loyal to Jeremy, so he votes for Tommy. Tommy wants to stay loyal to the hotties and votes for Jeremy. And Jeremy just says, "Fuck you, Edward. I'm gonna vote for you." Like Caleb and Aaliyah were just never in danger, despite like
Yeah.
attempts from Jeremy and Edward at the beginning to put them in danger.
But then that
Um,
goes back to Tommy in the
yeah,
Tommy factor.
it's like I still got to give them like some credit. Like they Caleb, we'll get to him. Like Jeremy notes Caleb as the better player of the two, which I mean, looking at
Mhm.
our stock watches, I think is accurate. I think he's playing um better than Aaliyah is, not by significantly much, but I think noticeable enough. To which I don't like that Jeremy's already kind of clocking. Caleb is probably not just the most capable player on this tribe, but also one of the most capable players on in the entire cast. I feel that's not the takeaway I got from that confessional, but I do see Jeremy drawn to that conclusion soon, which is not good for him in his long term, like his threat level. Um, I do like obviously I think he was putting in lots of work as well, forging these bonds. I think he's done the best with maintaining his relationship with Tommy, because if Tommy was swapped here with not with Caleb, maybe Tommy isn't so bold. Like maybe if it's like a Ryu and Aaliyah situation or Sergio and Aaliyah, or like any combination of those other people,
I don't know.
I think he would be entertaining the Edward Jeremy pitch more.
Maybe
And
Sergio,
maybe
but not Rio.
it's possible because like, but the reason why I'm thinking like for sure it wasn't going to happen with Caleb is because Caleb is Tommy's number one. Like, or like To- Tommy left the Marvin Tribal Council saying you're the only person I fully trust left in this game. And so I think Caleb is doing a lot of work to try to reassure and kind of comfort Tommy, just be Tommy's person right now. It's
But
where
again, I say that I think Ryu would be that person would step
it's
in if it
possible.
was because he would be his dad again.
Yeah, it's pop, but like it's weird because like Tommy doesn't trust Ryu as much as Caleb. That's why I'm
Oh,
like
true.
Ryu could have because Ryu left the Marvin tribe like going into swap. If they had lost the third challenge, wanted Tommy gone over Sergio. So I also could see a world where Ryu and Aaliyah just ditched Tommy even during the first tribal council because they're both were leaning towards doing getting him out before the swap anyways. And Aaliyah had already voted him off before. I could see them feeding into that like temptation a bit and saying, screw it, let's open the game up, let's vote off Tommy. But I don't think Caleb was planning on doing that and would have been the decision maker on whether or not Aaliyah does this or not. Because again, Aaliyah is Caleb's number one. Um, I think he has lots of say on this tribe. He's doing really good. Although Jeremy did clock him as a dangerous force. Um, I I'm gonna give him an 8. Could be swayed down to a 7, because of the fact that like everyone knows that like it's like Tommy's literally even confessing to them like, oh, they're the ones deciding this one. They're the ones choosing who goes. Um, it's not a secret to anybody that cares for any of this, but also has this idol, which I don't think no one knows. So it's like
I
he
don't
has
think
even
so.
more power than they even think that he does.
My biggest struggle with Caleb in his in rating him is solely the factor of he's been clocked. That's why I'm struggling to give any rating because everything you said is true and I agree with. Um, he's been clocked, but I feel like even if he was in a minority come another swap, I think that he would be able to rebuild quickly. Um, I feel like him and Lily would be able to hit it off, but of course everyone would hit it off with Lily. Let's be honest. Um, I'm gonna agree with the 8. I think it's like trending a downward 8, but he's still playing great.
This tribe is so weird to like rank because it's like
They're all like holding guns to each other.
yeah, like they all like no one trusts each other on this tribe except like Aaliyah and Caleb trust each other, and you could argue Edward and Jeremy do, but Jeremy also was like resigned at a point in like
Yeah.
content with voting him off and just like nah, it's just one of us, man. We just gotta go. Like to the point where Jeremy like even told Edward, honestly, do you just like vote me off? Is that just the move here? Just like telling him like, hey, baby, you mean to vote me off, which is insane to say to anybody, regardless of how close or how excited you were to play with him. Pre tribe divisions or not. Um, it's weird because it's like I think this swap was good in the sense that Caleb is safe. It's bad
Mhm.
in the sense that he's not building much that is new. Because like I'm looking at like other people like a Lily, for example, who had a significantly better swap. Both like she is safe and is all building with brand new pieces now. It has more connections on the board to save her from a potential swap. If he swaps with a good chunk of the cast, they have no rapport with Caleb at all. So it's like and the people he does have new rapport with now all know how dangerous he is. So it's like he didn't gain really much of anything from the swap. He just kind of stayed the same. And while like at
Mhm.
least other contenders from like past rounds have like gained something from the swap, I don't think Caleb's gained anything. I think Caleb's all they did was enlarge in his threat level, which isn't good. So yeah, it is a low 8, maybe just 8.0.
Yeah.
But um, but you would go first. Really.
I mean, I'm going to be pretty quick with the layups. I feel like we've talked. It's like, her and like you mentioned, her and Caleb are in tandem. So I feel like when we talk about Caleb's game, we talk about Aaliyah's game. I mean, she has Caleb as a shield. She's put good inwards with Edward. I feel I could be reading this completely wrong and I could have messed up. I feel like it's almost like Caleb might be more connected to Jeremy, and Aaliyah might be more connected to Edward, but I do still feel like a good connection between like the crossroads between all four of them. But Caleb and Edward do get along well. Um, but she still played well. I think I have to match her and Caleb and give her an 8. Like I just feel like it makes sense that they're in tandem.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's kind of where I'm at too. I was also contemplating a seven, I was. I think Caleb is dead set on eight. I'm thinking like it can be higher, it can be lower. I think Aaliyah's can be
Hmm.
higher or lower depending on how you argue it. Because you can argue Aaliyah was the safest person that the whole in this whole ordeal. That like once Tommy is turning down the chance to flip on Edward
Well,
and
Jeremy
Jeremy,
did want to get rid of Aaliyah.
yeah,
Like if it was up to him, he would have got rid of Aaliyah, I
he
think.
would have. But it's like he also acknowledged like Caleb as the bigger threat, like the person like is more
Yeah.
dangerous. So it's like based off of whose names were said, like yeah, like Caleb would be safe, but just like looking at trust rankings, looking at how people, if everyone was playing optimally for like what they want, then I don't think anyone votes for Aaliyah. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, clearly, like you said, Jeremy. I think that goes to like the thing we mentioned earlier. Like Jeremy is connecting more with Caleb than Aaliyah, but Edward's connecting more with Aaliyah than Caleb. Um, and like I thought this was not a good spot for her because she's swapping. Yeah, she's swapping with Caleb, but this person she needs to separate herself from. She needs to not make it so abundantly clear that those two are a duo together. Um, and not with Tommy. She's already voted like every vote has been unanimous except for the Marvin vote because Aaliyah voted for Tommy. Like that like this is the only person who did not get the person they wanted out when they attended a tribal council. So it's like I thought this was bad for her, but
But she's
honestly,
also the most trusted.
yeah, she ate. I thought it would be Caleb, but she good
Yeah,
for
I
her for
mean,
being first place.
she's barely, but it's because of Jeremy that Caleb's not.
Yeah, it's like
The
honestly,
four hurt him.
this ranking is so weird. I'm just looking at it right now, like the
They're all
averages.
weird.
They're yeah, what the fuck? The only thing that's not weird because the only person who has like something not in the twos is Sanaa. At least like a people like who had like
Oh yeah.
again there's like yeah there's people who like are rating like in like the threes, um and each tribe only has one person averaging in like the threes or lower than three. So I'll give Aaliyah an eight. I think Caleb is an 8.0. I'd argue Aaliyah is an 8.1.
Okay.
Good on you, Aaliyah. So Edgic.
Do we need
Um,
to question who's number one? Exactly.
so number two,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean,
I have a contender for four, actually.
okay, so tell me, oh, so your fourth player, not like,
Well,
or
I'm open, but I like I feel like I have a new challenger entering
okay,
the
so who's,
ring.
I,
I think we have to consider Ryu.
hmm, I, I was considering, I mean, we were considering real last because wasn't it? It was between Ali and Kevin, but our short list also included Ryu and Jaewon, I feel.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, I honestly, I think Kevin drops not because like he particularly did any bad work or made any like how could he have known? You know?
Yeah.
And maybe it may not even be relevant that like Jay now has an idol active and should use it if they go to another tribal council again, which would increase his likelihood of getting sent home. Um, yeah, no, so like I don't think Kevin is comfortably at fourth. I think still is a contender. I think has a better chance and clearly has had more consistently high stocks than a good chunk of the cast. I think most of Vuluvu, and a pretty good size, a good chunk of Bravi too. But yeah, I just think this round doesn't belong at the top four.
Based on what we
Um,
said, I think you have to drop him from the
yeah,
top four.
I agree. Honestly, I do believe Ryu deserves to be a contender this round. Whether he's fourth or not, I think is debatable. Um, because I also do kind of want to consider putting Caleb and Aaliyah both like next to each
Yeah.
other. I could consider that. But it's like
But how
who
far does Sanam drop also?
because like I think Sanam at least I'm okay with putting Sanam second, which is crazy because there's a world where if
Yes.
they lose that she's in a lot of danger this round. But it's like I keep seeing so focused on if they lose, they're doomed. Like you can oh my gosh, this is tough. Okay, let's do what we did last time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
And
agree.
let's have the short list of people. So we already did Lily. Um just preliminary, just looking at people who I think are in the most danger on the two tribes that didn't go to tribal council, Mikey, Tommy, and honestly, I will say Jeremy because there was a good point where Jeremy was going home. I think are good to eliminate. Um, Morgan would have been in the minority. Um, and I'm crazy. Maybe I am, but I would consider like, like if any, I can see arguments for everyone up on here, even Sergio. Which like, if you told me like three
Yeah.
rounds ago, Sergio was like vying to be a contender. I think for now Sergio's a no, but like I could see a world where that reveals itself soon. I think taking him out is fine. Um, and then we have, well, we just said we dropped Kevin, so I
Yeah.
think we commit to that. And then of these seven, three of them will be contenders, four of them will not. Um, I like a lot of the work that Bryant's been doing. Like it's crazy because so many people are playing well, and like I know we've been
Hmm.
nitpicking about like oh like this person this thing was not optimal. Like we're nitpicking for the sake of like not repeating the same points over and over and over and over and over again. Like oh they're doing good, um, because there are openings for any player to drop from contention or to potentially be sniped. Like any small minute error. That's what gets most of the best players out on the real show proper. And even in these wars, it's like just you could do so good, but one mistake can cost you. And so we're highlighting what could potentially be that mistake that might cost them or might. So it's like
Here's the
I'm
thing though, like I'm even like if I would include Jeremy still on my list.
yeah,
But it's like I don't know who to eliminate.
yeah
That's my
I'll put a question mark next to him because it's
yeah.
like I my
I feel
goodness.
like for sure in some iteration of it, I want Ryu.
I also kind of want Ryu. It's like Haki Fucky, yeah, no, honestly, put Ryu. Honestly, I feel good having Ryu on there as well. I think he's did a lot of impressive work this week, and no matter how the hotties handle a hypothetical tribal council, he should make it fine. Like if all three of them are still there, great. They
Hmm.
all trust him. If Aaliyah Caleb vote up Tommy, cool, great. Because he doesn't trust Tommy either. And if one of Aaliyah or Caleb gets sniped, also great because he knew that those were going to be a dangerous force. And he could pick up whomever is left of that duo and take them as like, oh, now I'm your number one now. Like he could work with whatever the hell happens on any of these tribes, really. Um,
Okay. I think with these people left, I feel like unfortunately, like Bryant, Edward, J1, they are making good progress and deserve to be on this short list, but I don't think we can actually consider them to be there. Do you
Um,
agree?
I agree with that. I could admit. I think the only person I would argue is J1 because J1 should be safe this next round.
He's
If
close,
he's
but
close,
like,
I think he's five. I would say J1 is five. I think Bryant's now, well, at the time that we were recording this, Bryant bought the Cam Zap gun from the shop,
and he's lying about it.
which is great. Which
Yeah.
is great for him, at least in short term on this tribe. He could do whatever the hell he wants. Obviously, he's lying about what this is, so he's committed to having this solely to himself to separate himself from the bananas. This could be a tool he can use later down the road. This could be a tool he uses to get out of a sticky situation here. He could kind of force J1's hand and be like, look, it's me and you voting. Vote with me. Just get a big player out or whatever.
Also, I do think we have to get rid of Jeremy.
Yeah, well,
I just
I
added
forgot.
him, but like,
I forgot we put him up on there. So it's like it's our week one and Ryu, which we've already locked in Ryu, so something of that's going to change. Um,
I think
I
the real thing I'm debating is like how
how much
much
does
is
Sanam know?
Sanam being penalized?
Yeah, for making this move. Um, it's so weird because she also has an idol, which is something that we haven't harped
Yeah,
on a lot on this. It's like, yeah, this is a bad move because if they lose again, then J1 would
but if
set aside one for
Jay
sucks.
plays an idol, she might then be like, "Fuck this, I'm playing an idol."
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's definitely, but either way, it's like it's bad because she'd lose an ally. But in the world where Jay plays an idol, like you said, like I think Sanam being a contender is fine, which means
Hmm.
one of Caleb or Leah will take that last spot. Due to the fact that Caleb has consistently been up there, I would just automatically say, oh, he's good. And
I feel like Caleb and whoever we leave out
mm,
is kind of in that group of like J1, Bryant, Edward
yeah,
of like just miss.
yeah. So it's like I will put
I think Sanam also gets moved into a locked spot
mm,
in the top four.
I also agree. And then we could debate the ordering because to be honest, I could consider Ryu being ranked even higher than fourth. Like I honestly I think
Yeah,
he's
this
done
is
the
just, preliminary.
preliminary test.
We're dwindling it down. Um,
Okay,
I feel like
here's what
we
I'm sure.
I think
You
I'm
say
leaning towards Caleb.
honestly I'm leaning towards Caleb too. Rebellion. Um, because I think that, like you said, like Aaliyah was the target at some point that Jeremy was trying to pitch. He thought it was more achievable, like attainable than Caleb. So on that level, Caleb was safer. Even though I think Jeremy would have eventually goes on to prefer Caleb going home. Um, and honestly, this would be my order. Ryu, Sanam, Caleb. Or Sanam, Ryu, Caleb. I can argue that too. I
I
feel like
think Ryu's might be number two for me also.
yippee, good for Ryu. Good job. Consider me.
Um, these last two really are interchangeable. You have the argument for either spot.
Yeah. I I think I actually how much do you think Jeremy leaking the bananas and Bryant's already turning on her will bite her in the ass?
It
Like in
depends
the meeting.
on next swap.
Yeah, it's like 'cause she could still recover. Like this is not like a dead set, like oh like Jeremy's jumping from the bananas. I don't perceive him revealing this as this much. I think maybe he thought the situation was so grave that it was just like, screw it. This has no effect at all. At least Edward can move on with his information. He's my friend. Um, and maybe Edward just aligns with the bananas. And considering Brian's trying to flip already, maybe Edward joining the bananas ranks isn't all that bad for Edward. So maybe Shanam could find herself in still a good position, both post swap and post second swap and at a merge situation. Whereas Caleb, I don't think is being clocked with being like with a group of people. He's only being clocked with being close with Aaliyah. And all he needs is for Aaliyah to go for his threat level to go back down. Um, with lots of people from OG Reluve trusting Caleb the most. I I can also argue Sanam dropping to fourth.
I think I'm settling more on Sanam 4, Caleb 3.
I because the reason why being is like at first I was putting Caleb fourth because I was like I feel like Caleb and Aaliyah need to be next to each other. Because
Hmm.
to me I'm like they're so like in tandem with each other that's like something benefiting Caleb likely it benefits Aaliyah and vice versa. But then I'm thinking like Sanam and Kevin aren't that dissimilar to
That's true.
Aaliyah and Caleb in that regard. So
Hmm.
it's like, and of the two duos, which is in more danger of potentially losing one of those two people? Aaliyah and Caleb, I think, are safe. Kevin and
Yeah.
Snam are in lots of danger because J1 has an idol. Bryant has the Zap thing. And while
And
Snam also
Sanam's
has an
idol
idol,
is known.
yeah, Sam Niles is known, and Kevin has nothing. So it's like
He has your hat.
he would have loved to have something useful,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have anything useful right now. He is over 2. He has gotten 2 bad items. But yeah, no, this is. I feel good with these contenders. It took a while to get there, but we eventually
But
got there.
I love Sanam's journey of like she's been in every single spot.
Just I love that already, and love Caleb and Lily consistently being up there. And now we'll see you guys all next week for who replaces Ryu in the contender rankings, because that's basically what this is. It's Leah, then Kevin, then Ryu. Can't wait for J1 to make it to the next one. I'm calling it right now. J1's going to make it to the next contenders. I'm going to fight for it, even if it doesn't make sense. Just that I'm right. But thank you all so much for tuning into the Stockwatch this round. I am Jacob Armstrong here with my co-host Jared Voorhees. And remember, be kind to one another, Godspeed, and whatnot. All those things.